Listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
All right, we are back live on this 20th of July, 2008. Obama calls for national civilian Stasi. Presidential candidate wants domestic security forces as powerful as U.S. military. Columnist compares proposal to Hitler Youth. Yeah, that's the Knoxville newspaper said that. Presidential frontrunner Barack Obama has called for a civilian national security force as powerful as the U.S. military, comments that were ignored by the vast majority of the corporate media, but compared by one journalist to the Nazi Hitler Youth. We cannot continue to rely on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful and strong and just as well funded, Obama told a Colorado Springs audience earlier this month. Now, remember that whatever they announce is already in place. Like they told you this year, you have a national ID card near your driver's license. I told you that in 1997 in my film America Destroyed by Design, and I showed you all the executive orders and documents and how you were thumb scanning to get a driver's license. And I told you in that film they would have police with thumb scanners and finger scanners in their cars and license plate reading cameras. And by the way, that's all in the mainstream news today. They're now telling you, the slaves, about it a decade after it was in place. You see how that works? No, you don't have a national ID card. You have a world standardized ID card under a September 2000 United Nations treaty that was ratified and our country signed on world ID specifications in Australia. You have a world ID. Your driver's license has a local, kind of like Sports Illustrated has 10 different, regional variants or whatever. Same thing. You think you got a Texas driver's license or an Illinois driver's license or a New York driver's license, or you think you got a Toronto driver's license? No. You have a world ID. And by the way, the Ministry of Defense 100-plus page document put out by the British last year where they say this is what we believe is going to happen and what we're doing, says our governments will use neutron bombs on us if we try to ever stop their New World Order. Yeah, Dick Cheney wrote they'll use bioweapons on us in the September 2000 Building America's Defenses document put out by PNAC, authored by him. See, they know you don't read think tank documents. They know you don't read the Ministry of Defense 10-year plan. Just Google that. It'll come up. Yeah, 2007, so you get that year. You can have the whole 100-and-something page declassified version. And it says, yes, our governments will use neutron bombs on the people. Your government is owned by private families. They have weapons that they could detonate above Austin, Texas, and kill every bug, every dog, every cat, and you, every squirrel. I don't care if you're 100 feet under the ground. You will flop around for about 10 seconds and die. That's if you're underground. There's enough radiation coming in. An instant flash, and then they roll in. You don't understand, do you, what we're dealing with here? You don't understand who these people are. You see, because I'm so on and so targeted and know what they're doing is the only reason I'm not dead or set up or in prison, because they don't want to underline and highlight everything I'm saying. They don't want to put an exclamation point and a bullhorn to everything I'm saying. Killing me would do that. Everybody asked, if this was true, why are you alive if they're such killers? Because I've already said it all. I've already put it out. You understand? And because this only a couple thousand people through compartmentalization control this through the shadow government, through the national security state. They bring in the cocaine, they bring in the heroin, they own the drug companies that push Ritalin and Prozac on your children, and HPV live cancer virus shots where on the insert for the shot it admits it doesn't protect you from cancer and will give you cancer. But you won't read that, will you? You are naive. Stop being naive. In my film, Road to Tyranny, I talk about youth corps. In my film I made in 1999, Police State 2000, I cover youth corps and show you the documents and say they're going to stage terror attacks and then implement youth corps running around and spying on people. And in every city, they have, quote, FBI anti-terror meetings. They invite the public, and people who mean well show up, and they go, okay, it's a 7-day free course. You'll get coffee and donuts while you're here. It's a couple hours every night. And then they have 1 day on terrorism, and then the rest is your neighbor growing marijuana? Do they spank their kids? It's all about police state. I told you more than 10 years ago in 1996, because I read the Telecommunications Act, that your cell phone would track you down to just a few feet off of triangulation with the cell towers and a GPS map. And then now it's been announced to you in the last 2 years. Tracking you, tracing you. I told you everything. Do you understand? Because I read what RAND Corporation says. I read what MIT says. MIT said 20 years ago their main directive, larger than the Manhattan Project, just MIT alone, was to build a military control grid and use the U.S. as a test and England as a test to then put in dominated countries. And then MIT Magazine, in a 2006 issue, I was at a grill waiting at the bar to get food to take home to my family. I can't even get away from this stuff. And there was MIT Magazine laying there. I already knew all about it. It was at Cypress Grill in South Austin. And I pick up MIT Magazine a few months ago, and I flip it open, and it's them bragging about the military grid with cameras and surveillance they put in Iraq, and how that was the system developed here. This is a military-run grid. Do you read me? You don't mean anything to those running it. And Henry Kissinger calls the military dumb animals to be used, calls the police dumb animals. They think you're dumb animals. And in a way, you are. I mean, they openly test chemicals and biologicals on you. They openly use you. They're not giving you your health care or the GI Bills being taken away now. They're taking... People had jobs at GM for 35 years are being told no health care anymore. We're not giving you your pensions. I told you that would happen. And this is only the beginning. And if you don't like it, they're going to send the young 20-year-old guys that don't know what they're doing to go after the old guys who were in the military decades ago. If you want to save the republic, if you want to save this country, you've got to admit we're going into tyranny. You know, the Germans didn't believe what was happening to them. Americans into the mid-40s didn't believe there were camps or mass executions or tyranny. No one believed the Soviets were killing people. They killed 50 million. Mao, the government of China admits, killed 60 million. The real number's about 80 million. And I've interviewed former top White House historians and CIA briefers, Richard C. Cook, Ray McGovern, a whole bunch of them in the last 2 weeks, and they are all independently saying they believe a massive extermination purge is being set up and geared up in the U.S. and England. And they said they believe the elites want to have a mass culling to get completely rid of the middle class. You know what's declassified? This is Zbigniew Brzezinski, and he even wrote about it in one of his books. National Security Advisor to Jimmy Carter, the guy that's behind Barack Obama. Then you got Kissinger, his commander above McCain. You know, he wrote and said, yeah, we worked with the Khmer Rouge. We liked the Khmer Rouge, who killed at least 2 million Christian middle-class people. You had a pair of glasses. They killed you because that meant you had money and could read. They want a bunch of dumb peasants. Nothing against the peasants, but that's what they want. Dumbed down, not having any education, not knowing any better. That's why they're overrunning the U.S. with third world people to drive down wages. Now, when we get back, I want to give you some background. In 2002, Rocky Mountain Daily News, I want media to LexisNexis this. If you're too stupid to use Google, I want media laughing. Don't you laugh. Don't you laugh. I want you to LexisNexis Rocky Mountain News crematoriums. 2002, feds built crematoriums all over the U.S. to incinerate us. Don't you laugh at me. When we come back, some folks went into one of these FEMA camps in Georgia. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of plastic coffins stacked. We got the company's name that sold it to them, everything. That's right. Are you just going to go along with this? In your gut, you know something's wrong. Well, we found out what it is. prisonplanet.com. That's where the resistance starts.
My only